for coming. My name is Julia. For those of you who know me, feel free to you don't have to take notes because it's all going to be here. But if you do have any questions, I will happily answer questions at the end. So we're going to be talking today about transforming your life with better habits. A lot of it comes around with nutrition. So I call this the 7+ lifestyle. So it is the name of my book. It's also something I really focus on, especially with my clients. So I'm going to go ahead and just get into a little background of me. But overview today, you're going to be seeing just defining your why, behaviors and habit formation, your environment and community, nutrition, explanation of macronutrients, recovery, sleep, water, and exercise, some of my favorite plant-based meals, and then resources. So just a little bit background about me. So I've been an athlete now for, most of my life, but I've been training consistently for about 13 years. I've been whole food, plant-based, vegan, or plant-based for over 5 years. And so a lot of my education, yes, I was an English teacher, and I taught in schools, I taught at colleges, but most of my education was learned from conferences. I went and did my own certifications. I did programs with Cornell, just to further my education around nutrition. So just a little bit about my passion for nutrition came from when my mom, I was 15 when my mom was diagnosed with cancer, so about 15 years ago. And that just kind of stemmed the why she was, struggling. I was like, she's a young woman, why is she struggling with health? So from that point on, I've just been so passionate about finding the why to help people. And there's a lot of cancers that are 100% preventable with diet. Not all cancers, but there are a lot of cancers that it's been proven. So I've coached over 150 plant-based individuals all over the world, as well as not plant-based individuals. I'm currently a nutritionist for a professional NBA player. So that's gonna need to be muted. I don't know how to do that. Okay. Anyway, so I'm currently a nutritionist for an NBA player, so I control pretty much all what he eats. He is also about 80% plant-based. So my why, I really care about building muscle to lift eventually future kids, future family. And if you don't have your why, it's very hard to do things in life, right? We all want to have a why. So yes, maybe I want to get back at an X and look super sexy and all that. Yeah, it's sustainable for probably a hot second. After that, you're really not going to find that sustainability aspect. So for me, I really want to focus on reducing injury. I want to feel energized, happy, clear-headed while battling off diseases with what I'm putting in my body and recover faster. As an athlete, I want to recover as quick as I can. So I want to break the cycle of diseases, illnesses, the mentality of it's too hard. I'm not an excuse person. Those who come take my class know I'm very much not an excuse person. I understand things happen, but you show up, you want to give yourself that best workout. So with this is also from my book, this is my pyramid. So this is pretty much the pH level, and I'll explain pH in a second. Probably what you guys have heard back in school days, the pH scale, where we want to focus on being at the middle. So we have alkaline versus acidic. So it also works with behaviors in our lifestyle. There are certain things that are very acidic or toxic for our bodies, and then there are things that are very alkalizing or healthy for our bodies. So I always focus, your why is the biggest reason you do what you do. Moving on to your behaviors and habits, all of you coming to class, working out, that has become habitual for you. That is something that is a non-negotiable, and that should be continually practiced every day. Your environment and community are also so important. Who you surround yourself with, because more than likely the 5 people you surround yourself with, you are the most like. So choose wisely who you are surrounding yourself with. Nutrition is the next part. Sleep. Sleep is usually arguably more important than nutrition because sleep fuels all of our hormones and everything. But I understand new parents, it's very hard to get sleep. So you really want to focus on, okay, how can I nutritionally get myself, you guys, I can hear you here. So anyway, those who are online, hello. So nutrition is another thing, again, so important. Sleep talks about, I'll briefly go over the hormones that are impacted. Hydration, of course, is very important, and then exercise. So they always say your abs, 80% are made in the kitchen, 20% working out. So I mean, it's laughable, but also there's so much truth behind nutrition being very important. So your why should always be greater than your excuses. So if by today you do not have that why for why you eat what you eat, why you are exercising, why you do the habits you do, why you scroll on social media for 10 hours instead of doing X, Y, Z, and we're all, at fault of it. You want to have that why. If you do not have that why, you want to cater into something or start reassessing. The other part I like to say, especially with my clients, is picturing your body flipped inside out, right? Just take a moment, think of what does your body look like if it were flipped inside out. Would there be beer cans? Would there be tons of pizza? Would there be greens and veggies? Would there be, a nice blend, a nice mix of like sweet potatoes, broccoli, and then maybe you have your piece of protein. So that's something else you want to think about. And then reassessing your priorities. So for me, every single day working out, not every day, but like 5 times a week, that's a non-negotiable. People know at this point they are not going to negotiate with my working out time. So that's something that you should also be thinking of as well. So what are those priorities? And if you don't know, check your schedule. The thing you spend the most time on is a priority, whether you want to believe it or not. If you end up spending 6 hours a day on social media accumulated, that is a priority. So the excuses and negative thinking, we all get into that mindset of, oh, I have to do this, or, oh, that person, oh, they look so good. Well, I have a kid, so I can't look as good as that. Or, oh, well, I travel all the time and I'm a nurse, so I can't look as good as that. When you put yourself into that negative thinking, it's going to continue to be your language. You're going to continue, your body's going to hear you. Where there are so many people that will say, no, I'm going to better myself. I'm going to further my learning. I'm going to further make myself stronger. And I'm not going to let that be an excuse. I'm going to let that be my motivator to get me through. You do it for your kids. You do it for your family. You do it for you. So you can't heal a body that you don't love. This is the other thing I'm going to say. If you were, I'll ask this question, if you were to switch bodies with the person you love the absolute most, how would you take care of it? Would you go to therapy? Would you focus on fueling it with good foods? Would you pay that extra money for the organic, healthier foods? Would you stay up all nights? Or would you focus on making sure you get restful sleep? Would you focus on making sure you're hydrated? And I ask this question because, again, you want to think of that person you love the most, and how you treat them should be how you treat you. So I always like to start off because yes, nutrition is so important. We get it. Yeah, there's hard things, but this is foundational. If you don't have this down, the rest is going to be extremely hard to conquer. So environment and community is the other part. So I always like to ask how do you set up your environment? What does your car look like? What does your bedroom look like? What does your workspace look like? Does it have inspirational quotes? Does it have pictures of people you love? What do your relationships look like? How do you nurture the relationships with others? And how do you nurture the relationship with yourself? Do you spend that time with yourself? Again, like I said, who do you spend the most time with? Who do you listen to? Who do you follow? There's a great button on social media called mute, if you haven't learned about it yet. So if you're not agreeing with somebody, or you're finding that it's becoming, you find yourself comparing, you don't have to unfollow if you're nervous about that. Just press mute. You don't have to do it. I've done it too. If I've seen so many posts and I'm like, I don't want to cause drama, I'm just going to mute it. And I want my highlight reel, my social media, to be about things that inspire me and keep me going. And if it's not one of those things that makes me laugh, that makes me go, oh, or that makes me feel good or learn from, it's going on mute. I'm not trying to be surrounded around the drama. I'm not trying to be surrounded around negative thinking. So who you follow is also a reflection of some of your own values. And then what kind of foods are around, right? If you're going home and you're craving a snack, do you have, pretzels and dark chocolate hummus? Do you have, any kind of fast food around? Are you going for the frozen pizza, or do you have some, healthy berries that you can snack on? And I know your cravings are like, no, I want the pizza, I don't want the berries, but what's gonna make you feel better? So I'm going to go ahead and explain a little bit about the alkaline versus acidic diet, and just explanation. And it's not just the diet itself, because I try not to use the word diet because the word die is in diet. I try to say lifestyle. So when you look at alkaline versus acidic, you think of also just your lifestyle habits rather than just food. So pH is potential hydrogen, which in other words tells us how much hydrogen is found in liquids. So we have a pH scale, 0 to 14. 7 is that baseline. 7 is where we want to be in between. So anything above 7 is alkalizing. Anything below 7 is not. That's acidic. So Acidic foods, like I said, ranges from 0 to 7. And so something else to know is, with that being said, we have to understand that just because a food is acidic, like a lemon, does not mean our body processes it as acidic. A lemon, for example, is very alkalizing for our bodies. So you don't have to understand the science behind it. You don't have to go and be like, oh, what's acidic and what's not. I'll explain pretty much just a key thing for you guys to follow to understand a little bit more about alkaline versus acidic. So every food and drink we consume is processed in our bodies as either alkaline ash or acidic ash. So the pH of food after digestion is referred to as the ash of the food. So not only are the food choices impacting us, but the people we surround ourselves with, what we listen to, what we tell ourselves, and what activities we participate in all impact our pH. You can have the best lifestyle eating habit, right? You can have veggies and fruits and nothing processed and all this healthy stuff, but if you are hanging around the wrong people, you are probably worse off than that person who is having a nice mix of everything and covering the whole holistic wheel. So this is just a little, you don't have to zoom in or explain it, I just want to show a colorful picture. So you're going to be seeing the pH spectrum, acidic, alkaline. So pretty much just something to understand. This is neutral, like tap and spring water. You have acidic, carbonated beverage, a lot of processed food, anything white potatoes, you have the pizza crust, those things are all going to be more so acidic. Eggs, most grains also fall a little bit closer to the acidic, but not as much. They're a little bit more alkalizing. Then you have all the whole foods, right? You have veggies, you have fruits, you have nuts. Those things are more alkalizing. So I'm not saying to sit here and be like, oh my gosh, I'm having an all acidic diet. All I'm encouraging you guys to do is to reassess what you're having and focus on an 80-20 rule, right? 80% try to be whole food. You try to keep alkalizing foods, and then the rest may be acidic. Coffee is acidic. I am in no way ever giving up coffee because I love coffee, right? I'm aware that it's acidic for my body, but there's a balance to everything. So again, this is just a little basic bit for you guys to see. So lifestyle choices as well, things that also register on the alkaline versus acidic. Your fear, worry, stress is also very acidic per se for your body. So how do you combat that? The next bit, so as I had mentioned, right, we talked a little bit about alkalizing, right, and whole food plant-based is alkalizing. Yes, I'm saying vegan, there are a lot of vegan foods that are also not healthy. You go and have, or I should say, are more so very processed, so that's something that's going to be a little bit more acidic for our bodies. So I want to explain what plant-based is, because this is a new phenomenon to a lot of people. So whole food plant-based is different than, I would say, vegan, right? Whole food plant-based consists of vegetables, whole grains, fruits, seeds, legumes, and nuts, while excluding processed foods like white flour, oils, sugar, and any animal products, meat, dairy, eggs, etc. So plant-based nutrition has been studied and proven to be one of the most optimal diets for maintaining a healthy pH balance in the body. Whole plant foods tend to have an alkaline ash, which helps bring out the acidity of other foods. It's rich in nutrients such as vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants, and has low to no saturated fat, trans fat, and dietary cholesterol. Our body also makes its own cholesterol, so there's two different things, dietary cholesterol, and then our body makes cholesterol. So, which has been known to reduce the risk of heart disease and other chronic conditions. So for this, right, we have really good nutrient density, and for those who are like, yeah, I know plant-based would be healthy to incorporate, but that's not something I'm gonna do. I'm not sitting here telling you to do that, right? That's not my objective. My objective is to introduce you and help you choose healthier foods to make sure that you're feeling your best. The other part of why whole food plant-based helps so much is because of the fiber. So yes, it's very nutrient dense, but we want to care about fiber. So say, looking at your day-to-day, right, your breakfast, maybe you're having eggs or you're having oatmeal, right? Look at the fiber content of that. I typically track in MyFitnessPal. It's easy for me just to keep track of the fiber content, because your goal, I know it sounds crazy, but you want to be hitting 50 grams a day if you're really trying to help prevent certain diseases. So most of my clients start out and they're like, I only hit 15 grams a day. And I'm like, that's okay. We're gonna just start by adding maybe 2 dates in. When you feel low energy, add some dates in. And that's gonna help get your fiber content up while you're still eating the other foods, but you really wanna make sure you're getting enough fiber. So anti-inflammatory properties as well. We know it's anything whole food plant-based has a lot of anti-inflammatories, but that's stuff you guys learned from school when we were kids, like eat your fruits and veggies and berries. It's not changed. That has been since the early age of time. Hydration, I'm gonna get into in a little bit. That's also helping you get more energy. All of this is going to help with weight management and then your digestive health as well. So fiber helps move things along, but I will say, if you start off like eating 15 grams of fiber a day and then all of a sudden you go to 50, your stomach's going to be really upset because there's so much, the gut is super happy, but it's a lot for the body. You have to ease into it. So make goals for yourself to say, okay, maybe instead of just oatmeal for breakfast, I'm going to have oatmeal with berries and I'm going to add some berries to it. And slowly get yourself to that goal of increasing your fiber content, which I'll explain in just a little bit too. So processed foods, these are just an overall breakdown of what processed foods are considered. We know that processed foods are something that we should be minimizing throughout our day-to-day. So we have breakfast cereals, canned soup, frozen dinners and entrees, packaged snack foods, sweetened beverages, fast food, meat, canned foods, dairy products, bakery items, condiments and sauces, yes, like ketchup too, instant noodles, pasta dishes, and desserts. So some of you might be like, that's my whole diet. What do I do if that's my whole thing? That's okay, right? That's okay. You can start. Maybe you have maybe you have canned soup, right? And then you have a nice green bowl of cauliflower and broccoli and peas with it, right? Balance. Find that balance. So I want to also explain saturated fat and trans fat and dietary cholesterol. So this is where I usually have my straw. I give a straw example just to help people understand their arteries and what it looks like from an inside perspective. But I'm going to do my best to just explain without it. So you have three things: saturated fat, trans fat, dietary cholesterol. These are known, right, to contribute to heart disease and many, many illnesses and cancers and things of that nature. This has been studied, and these are what we want to be aware of. Not having too much saturated fat, trans fat, dietary cholesterol. A whole food plant-based diet, you're not going to be seeing any of these. So then nutrients throughout your body are going to flow a lot faster through your arteries than someone who's having a lot of saturated fat, a lot of trans fat, and a lot of dietary cholesterol. Why? It's because when you have your arteries over time, when you're 20s, 30s, 40s, sure, you're fine. You start to see people struggle with a lot of heart disease. Their energy levels get a lot lower. They start to struggle with certain body functions, right? Even their brain might be not activating or not working as quickly. It's because of what happened in their 20s, while they're 10, 20, 30, 40s, because over time, saturated fat, trans fat, and dietary cholesterol start to create plaques in your arteries. Over time, it starts to harden, and then it's a lot harder. Now when you have something that has a hardening plaque, so it doesn't look like this anymore, it starts to get very small, it becomes a lot harder and takes a longer time for blood to pass nutrients through the body. So now that it's becoming a lot harder for blood to pass nutrients through the body, you're not getting them as quickly. So those who are following, the more high saturated fat, high trans fat, high dietary cholesterol diets, they're the ones that are taking a lot longer to recover from injuries. Their brains aren't working as optimally. They're not getting that cognitive function. They're not getting that active performance that they really want, like if they're an athlete. So you're seeing a lot more athletes include a whole food plant-based diet because they want to recover quick. So they don't want the plaque to be building up. They don't want to be having that time. They want to recover as quickly as possible. So more and more and more, this is where heart disease happens and strokes happen. They just see the continuation of plaque building up and they're not taking care of it. So again, I'm not saying everybody go whole food plant-based. It's not my objective. My objective is to just say, if you're gonna focus on anything, focus on including more fiber, more whole foods, more veggies, more fruits with every meal you have. Whatever you're having, just make sure you have the color rainbow with whatever meal you're having. You're having fish, make sure if you're having a little piece of salmon, have mostly those greens, cruciferous vegetables, your broccoli, your kale, your cabbage, your cauliflower. And then you have your regular greens, your veggies, right? Maybe some peas, those are my favorite, that's why I keep bringing it up. Carrots, right? The color is what you wanna focus on. So with every meal, just have that awareness to bring forward to it. So anyway, saturated fat is found in animal products such as meat, poultry, dairy products, butter, and tropical oils. like coconut and palm oil. So those are two that are also, that saturated fat is found in. Trans fat, primarily found in processed and packaged food to improve shelf life and texture. So other amounts occur naturally in most animal products, but it also, you're looking at any kind of processed food, so you're having the dairy replacements, you're having Beyond Meats, that is also gonna have some degree of trans fat. Antibiotics and hormones, so unfortunately, a lot of products now, if you're not careful, that are sold, they include that in meats because it helps the animals grow and prevents diseases. So then we're the ones who eat the animals and we're getting that as well. So you just wanna be careful again to make sure that you're having a lot of greens and veggies to help fiber move everything along your body, through your body. Processed meats, like I said, mock meats, additives, preservatives, and high sodium levels. So if you are like, oh, let me have Beyond Meats every single day, that's also gonna be having high sodium levels. So you really wanna focus on balance. Okay, so protein, the thing that people obsess over so much. This culture has obsessed over protein so much, and I worked with, I've gone to conferences with so many doctors, lifestyle doctors, and they just cannot understand the phenomenon that's been obsessed around protein. We get enough every day. If you think of the strongest animals, rhinos, elephants, and gorillas, they all thrive on plants. They don't eat animals, they don't eat any of that. So I know it's concerning, right? That some of us are like, no, we need protein in everything. Yes, they are the building blocks, but they are not everything. We only need about 10 to 35% of our caloric intake, but the body overall processes about 10% of that protein. So you do not need to be hitting 35% of your caloric intake for protein. Yes, if it happens naturally, we understand, but you don't have to force yourself to sit there and say, oh my gosh, I need 3 protein shakes today. That's not something you should be focusing on. Honestly, which I'll get into in a little bit, you should be focusing on carbs, complex carbs. That is going to have glycogen, replace glycogen in the muscles, allow them to puff up. Most of it, most of my food is carbs. That's primarily what I have. Athletes, their primary focus is complex carbs. So we want to break that stigma, like I said. So how much do we need? Yes, according to NASM and other National Academy of Sports Medicine and other resources, right? The general guideline is to aim for 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per kilogram of body weight. So as an avid lifter and 100% plant-based athlete, my protein naturally per day falls anywhere between 100 and 120. Do I need all that protein? No, I don't need all that protein, but it naturally falls there because I eat about 2,800 calories a day. So I'm eating a lot more food, but I'm not forcing myself to always get there. So protein is in plants and animal sources. Now, if you are trying, this is transformation time, if you are trying to really lose weight, or change your body fat percentage, right? Let me go ahead with that because weight is not a term I usually like to focus on. Protein keeps you satiated and helps you from overeating. You wanna know what else does? Starts with an F. Fiber, thank you, yes, fiber, that is the other thing. Yes, yes, you guys get 100, all 100. Fiber helps keep you full. So if you're trying to find a balance, protein, yes, and also the body requires a lot more energy to break down protein. So because when you're eating foods, and a lot of people on a higher protein diet will lose weight, it's because the body requires so much more energy to break down the protein. So that is why it helps, but it keeps you full. So I would recommend the fiber and protein is the friend to help you with the transformation challenge. So I'm gonna show you some plant-based protein sources and then animal protein sources. Most of you are probably familiar with animal protein sources and not as familiar with plant-based, so that's why I'm gonna go over some of these. Tofu, so I freeze mine, it marinates so much better, has great texture. The chef I work with, the player, she's also a chef, so she cooks it amazingly. But this is a tool, you can also press it with just, what's it called? Napkins and things of that nature, towels. You can press it, drain it, and it really ends up, if you freeze it, it'll have a really good texture to it. Some people compare it to chicken without even knowing the difference. Edamame, soybeans, and I'll cover soy in a little bit. Soy milk, organic and unsweetened. Please stay away from the sugar and all the extra additives. Tempeh, that also it covers your prebiotic, so it helps a lot with the gut. Nutritional yeast, which is one of my favorites. It kind of has a cheesy texture, it's packed with B vitamins, and really good at putting on top of salads. Pasta, if you have pasta, nutritional yeast, layered on top. Chickpeas, texturized vegetable protein, TVP, lentils, seitan, there's so much more. Seitan does have gluten though, if you're trying to be gluten-free. Seitan is not something to have. Animal-based protein, you have chicken, breast, poultry, you have tuna, salmon, flounder, eggs, Greek non-fat yogurt, whey protein. Again, these, I know most of you are probably familiar with the animal-based proteins, but this is just like an overview of what some of them are. Now soy, I want to explain this because there's so much hate around soy, and I'm like, why? And you wonder where it comes from? Propaganda, because they were the first competitor of the dairy industry. And people will say, but there's hormones in soy. Actually, no. It contains phytoestrogens, right? Estrogens, that's where they get confused. Phytoestrogens, which actually are protective components for your cells. So it contains isoflavones and then phytoestrogens, like I was saying. So some sources, tofu, soy milk, miso, edamame, tempeh. So these and other soy products, including soybeans themselves, are high in nutrients that you tend to associate with other legumes, including fiber, iron, magnesium, potassium, protein, and zinc. Sounds like a great alternative, right? Another great alternative. But, the other thing that people tend to get nervous about, they're like, but I'm not gonna meat, I'd rather have chicken because it's higher in protein and it has these vitamins, but you won't necessarily have the same effect, right? You won't have, yes, there's a lot of the same thing, but you won't have the saturated fat and trans fat and dietary cholesterol if you are doing the soy product. So, and some people are allergic, so if you're allergic, skip it, you're not having it. But soy and dark leafy veggies provide the same calcium and vitamin D that is found in dairy products without the acidic ash buildup. So green soy products, dark veggies, walnuts, and lentils provide the same omega-3 fatty acids, vitamin B, iron, and zinc found in meat. Mind blowing. So phytoestrogens work to reduce cancer cells because they have the ability to bind to estrogen receptors in the body and block the effects of estrogen, which can help prevent the growth of cancer cells. So phytoestrogens may also have anti-inflammatory and antioxidant effects, which can further contribute to their cancer protective effect. So a lot of the Asian cultures, they're some of the longest ones, and they thrive on soy. They thrive on tofu, and you see that they are some of the highest populations that live the longest. Okay, so carbohydrates, this is the next bit I'm gonna go through. They can be classified as either complex carbs or simple carbs based on their chemical structure and how they're metabolized by the body. Our body digests them and turns them into glucose, so it can use the glucose for fuel. Glycogen is the stored form of glucose. So we want more carbs, right? We work out, we store glycogen in the muscles, and we have an amazing workout. When you eat a high carb meal, you're gonna feel with a lot of complex carbs. That's why they say runners eat a lot of carbs, because you're gonna feel better, you're gonna perform better. You're gonna feel so much stronger when you have that as compared to somebody who's having a very high fat dinner or high fat meal. So this is the other thing. We need sugar from carbs, complex carbs, right? Not our table sugar, not our, oh my gosh, I need to go home and have Twizzlers sugar. But the sugar, our brain uses this to function. So fruit has sugar, yes, but it also has, what's our favorite F word? Fiber, yes. So it's gonna have fiber, helps everything have a slow release to it. So because fruit, people are like, oh no, I gotta stay away from sugar, I can't have sugar. Because fiber protects it, fiber helps control a slow release of energy. So your energy levels are gonna be so much more stable than someone who's gonna go ahead, oh, let me go ahead and have a chocolate bar, and then my energy is gonna rise up and then it's gonna crash. Where fruit provides that more stable energy. So if you're looking for that stable energy before your workout, that's a really good option as well. So fiber, yep, gave it away. So half our daily intake should be from complex carbs. Fiber is a micronutrient in the world of nutrition and is the indigestible part of plant food. Studies have shown that a diet high in fiber lowers cholesterol levels and reduces the risk of heart disease. So for carbohydrates, our caloric intake should be anywhere from 45 to 65. This is from my book. It's just a little screenshot. So these are some examples of simple sugars, simple carbs, and these are some examples of complex carbs. For simple carbs, like if I have somebody going to run a marathon, I'm gonna make sure they have like maple syrup packs or simple sugars on them because they're gonna need that quick boost of energy. But a day before, you carb load, right? And a carb load would be anywhere of this. So anybody doing the dry try, you wanna make sure to have a nice complex carb day. So fiber, I was pretty much explaining it. You have two types. soluble, insoluble. Soluble, it dissolves in water to form a gel-like substance and helps lower cholesterol, regulate blood sugar levels, like I was saying, helps your energy as well. Insoluble fiber adds bulk to stool and aids in digestion by promoting regular bowel movement. So people who have more fiber are like, wow, this is awesome, I feel so much better. So that's just a tip there. Especially soluble fiber found in oats, beans, and fruits can help reduce your bad cholesterol levels, which again, lower the risk of heart disease. This is a little bit more, it helps your gut. People ask how they heal your gut, which is pretty much known as our second brain and has over 70% of our serotonin levels that come from the gut. A great way to heal it is through increasing your fiber, right? That's really helpful. It helps you feel longer. So again, you're trying to lose weight or change your body fat percent. It helps you feel full longer, slows digestion. It helps control appetite, reduce caloric intake, and supports weight loss or maintenance goals. So it's been linked to reduce type 2 diabetes, certain cancers like colorectal cancer, and it helps maintain healthy blood sugar levels. These are some examples. You can also, if you wanted to take a picture or not, or just look, but these are some examples and how many grams of fiber they have. So say you're having 2 cups of green beans, that's already 18 grams of fiber you have. So that's a great one. So if you want to take a picture of that, you're more than welcome to, you don't have to. Then we have fruits, raspberries, you have 8 grams of fiber. So 2 cups of raspberries you're putting into your day-to-day, you get already 16 grams. Then you have spaghetti whole wheat cooked, you have barley, bran flakes, quinoa, oat bran. You see these different ones with the fiber as well. So 1 slice of rye bread is 2 grams of fiber, and then legumes, nuts, and seeds as well. You have the higher fiber, so split peas and lentil have really high fiber. Just remember, if today you're like, oh, I'm gonna go include more fiber, please just take it slow, because your gut's gonna be like, oh my gosh, please slow down. It's great, it's happy, but ease into it. Don't do it all in one sitting. The last macronutrient I'll talk about is fat. Sorry, I'm just talking and talking. You're probably like, when is this probably gonna stop? But this is the last macronutrient that is necessary for the structure, function, and regulation of the body's tissues and organs. So adequate intake of fat is important for a number of reasons. So it's a source of energy for the body, right? It helps absorb and transport fat-soluble vitamins such as A, D, E, and K. So the fat-soluble ones. Those are the ones we don't really want to over-consume. The water-soluble ones, right, your B vitamins and C are okay because your body will, just get rid of it and can take multiple amounts. So this protects against extreme temperatures. The recommended daily intake of fats, of course, varies on your age, sex, and level of activity. However, we want to aim for about 20 to 35% of our caloric intake from fats. So that's some fun facts here. And then you have here avocados, nuts, seeds, dark chocolate, chia seeds, olives, peanut butter, and almond butter are examples of fat. I will say flax seeds, ground flax seeds, I have them every single day. If you look them up on your own, they have so many benefits behind preventing cancers as well. There was a study done on women with breast cancer on just including ground flax seeds every single day and how much transformation it's helped, that it didn't metastasize the cells and it was able to just from that to be able to control it. So most of our food is medicine, guys. Like most of the food from the ground is healing for our body. So on your own, look up ground flax seeds. I take 2 tablespoons a day, 100% worth including. One of the final parts I'm getting into is recovery, sleep, exercise, and water. So we know it's very important if you want great results in the gym. You want to alkalize your diet with more whole foods. When we are in a recovery period, lactic acid builds up in our muscles, and our body needs a moment to decrease the inflammation. So protein is found in our muscles, and protein cannot thrive in building your muscles in an acidic environment. So you want to make sure you are focusing on including a lot of whole foods. The cleaners are here. Okay, so sleep. When we don't get enough sleep, our body produces more ghrelin, not gremlin, but you could think of the same thing, right? Think of gremlin, like, oh, I'm angry. Because what it does is it stimulates appetite. So that's even like if you know Ozempic or some of the weight loss drugs, right? What it does is it controls and suppresses your ghrelin hormone. But what happens when you get off of it, you gain all that weight back and it's all fat. So that's the problem with this, is like we really want to focus when we're not sleeping. We're struggling with this we're struggling with facing more of our ghrelin hormones increasing. So less leptin, which we want more of, it suppresses appetite. So when we sleep, we are fully balanced. 7 to 9 hours per night consistently. However, females, there's been a lot more studies, because they're finally doing studies on females. We need about 8 to 10 hours to sleep a night. And I know it's hard, but females do need more sleep than males. Exercise, 30 minutes 5 times per week. A lot of you guys have been coming to OTF, so keep that going. Resistance training and cardio. So cardio is also just as important as resistance training. We want to make sure we get that in for our cardiovascular health, but resistance training, you want to make sure you're building muscles. More muscles equals faster fat burn. 100 ounces of water per day is what I recommend. Typically, I hit a gallon, usually, sometimes a little more, but that's what I typically recommend if you want to feel better. These are some of my favorite plant-based meals. It's also in my book over there, some of these recipes: protein chocolate chip banana pancakes, soy yogurt, mixed berries, natural cacao nibs. If you're trying to look to improve performance, also, my protein shake, I get a protein from Australia. I have 1 scoop of creatine monohydrate and then 1 tablespoon of natural cacao powder. Cacao powder helps provide energy, helps muscle recovery. It's an antioxidant, and it's great to just include in your day-to-day for that natural energy. So highly recommend that. I have sweet potato curry, barbecue burgers, fig bars if I want a snack, frozen grapes. Yeah, I like Twizzlers too. See, I like my sugar too. Chia seed pudding. So these are just some. I'm gonna provide time for questions, but this is, I have my book over there. This is also linked to my book if you guys want the resources a little bit more in detail of all nutrition and habits and motivation. This is, right now I have on sale a 7-day simple plant-based meal plan. So if you're like, oh, I want to include at least 2 days of meal plans of plant-based, you guys can scan this QR code. I have a simple plant-based meal plan on sale. And then I do one-on-one coaching in the respect of nutrition, training, mental wellness. So you can scan that QR code as well. That is it. Yeah, that's it. Thank you, guys. So I tried. I think I got it done with our Zoom time.
Oh, the 45 minute.
That's what happened.
Oh, the 45-minute limit they give you.
Yeah, I was like, I pulled the Zoom because we only had 40 minutes on Zoom. So we're trying to make it work. So yeah, it's probably telling us. Yeah, so that's pretty much my last one. I gave a presentation last year, was much longer, so you guys got the abbreviated version of it. I know I spoke a lot. It's a lot to digest, literally, figuratively. Do you have any questions? Like, any questions right now that you can think of? Or was just a lot of information?
The flaxseed, and this might be a stupid question, so I apologize, but I know like the way you prepare food sometimes alters its benefits.
Yeah.
Baking it.
You're okay.
Baking.
Ground flax seeds. I just make some muffins with flax seeds in it
No,
before I came here. Yeah.
Okay, good. I make my daughter oatmeal bars every Sunday, and I always add flaxseed and chia seeds to it for her.
Perfect.
Okay, good.
That's a great
Smoothies.
Yeah.
Smoothies. I put you can.
They also are a fantastic egg substitute.
That's what I was just gonna say.
Because my mother-in-law doesn't eat egg.
Yeah. So it's great, and it's so beneficial. You just mix 2 tablespoons with water, you let it sit, and then you replace it.
Just don't let it sit too long because it seasons up real quick.
Well, that's it.
Like
So
chia
those are some tips. Anybody else? Questions? Yeah.
Can you explain cholesterol, like if someone has high cholesterol versus
How to lower
healthy cholesterol, like the difference between that terminology?
Oh, cholesterol. So dietary cholesterol?
Yeah.
That comes from food. So mostly that's any animal product has dietary cholesterol. It ranges which animal product you're having. Red meat will have a lot more than your typical, chicken, salmon. But they all do have dietary cholesterol. And the thing is, over time, if you're consuming so much of it, then you're gonna start to create plaques in your arteries, and that'll harden. So your body makes its own cholesterol. So for me, I don't have cholesterol in my diet. So my body's been your body makes it on its own. So you don't have to worry. I mean, we have people that have lived generation that have not had any dietary cholesterol. So does that make a
So
little
like
bit of sense?
if someone has high cholesterol,
How they can reduce it?
yeah, I guess so, like,
That's something, increase fiber.
yeah.
That is your best bet to start. So if they have high cholesterol, you really want to focus on making sure, okay, add the ground flax seeds, add the fruits, add the veggies, add all of that into your day-to-day. Make your plate mostly about that. And then the protein you can have on the side, right? Like focus mostly on complex carbs because that'll help lower cholesterol and that'll help bring your energy levels up as well. Anything? Yeah, go
Does it
ahead.
depend on if you're taking drugs too? Like I'm on Zepbound, I have a doctor and a nutritionist.
Yeah.
And they're both protein, 160 grams minimum a day,
Okay.
which is what you said don't do. So like,
Yeah,
is that
so
because of
I'm not-
medicine that they're doing that?
So the thing is, it's hard. The one thing with doctors, I struggle with the doctors because a lot of them don't take nutrition classes. Like the doctors, they'll recommend a lot of things. And I'm not saying to discard what your doctor said at all. But the thing about the very high protein, it depends on what quality of protein you're getting as well, right? Because if you're just having like steak and chicken all day, that's going to create such high levels for saturated fat, trans fat, and your cholesterol. And then you're going to see the reverse effect. Yeah, it helps you lose weight. Yeah, it helps you stay satiated, but your body is going to be starting to create these plaques, and you don't want to have issues with your arteries. So it's the thing about the drug. No, you want to just focus on making sure you're eating a lot healthier sources of protein. So if you're having, like if you need protein and they're like, oh yeah, have more of this, maybe your lunch is chicken, but your dinner is a bean stew, right? And that's high in protein as well. So I'd focus